Hey guys, Koven here back with another quick thoughts video. I'm going to be covering Aram today, one of the newest limited units to come to Epic 7. So she's a Fire Soul Weaver, and I think based on first impressions, I think she's a very useful addition to the roster. We're just gonna go through her kit, and then I'll give my thoughts on builds, artifacts, teammates, and use cases for her, and then overall value for your account. So looking at her skill one, it's just a normal skill one. You see a lot of soul weavers have these low chance stuns, and then she has the soul burn, of course, to make it 100%. But I don't think you'll be using that too often. But it's just pretty much 40 or 35% chance, actually 35% chance to stun, and then it does heal all allies. And in my experience so far, it's like I'm running like a 23, 24k HP build, and it's been like a decent heal. It can be pretty useful, especially if you run a faster build. So might be I think it's a pretty good skill. Her skill two is the probably the most interesting part about her kit, which is where it has like a double kind of effect where in the first case, if your opponent takes first turn, your allies will get 3-turn immunity. And the reason that's so valuable is because when you look at the meta openers in the game, you have Harsetti, Lidica, Blue Pera, Conqueror Lilius, Hellion Lure, those kind of units. All of them have, because you have two different types of strips in Epic 7. You have I can just go through the Soul Weaver section. You have the decreased debuff durations or decreased buff durations, sorry, and then you have the actual strips. So that won't do much to help you from actual strips. It'll basically just give you like extra check. Maybe you'll get a 15% resistance, but it works so well into units like the Hellion Lure, like the Lidica, because these units they do decrease debuff durations by 1 or 2, and if she's giving 3-turn immunity, you're always gonna still have immunity once they've pressed their skill. So it takes away the potential of a Lidica to combo you with skill 2 into skill 3 defense break, push you back. Takes away the threat of like a lure with books on 4 and 5 in the draft. So I think her S2 is the first effect is so good at facing openers, and then one of the like most disliked units I would say in this meta right now is Harsetti. And Harsetti is one of those units where she decreases debuff durations. I think hers is by I want to say 2, but uh the Aram if you pick Aram against Harsetti, she wouldn't be able to do that because uh she can't strip your 3-turn immunity. Yeah, decrease debuff durations by 2, but if I have 3-turn immunity, she's not able to debuff me. So the second effect of her skill 2 is if you take first turn, you increase the effectiveness of all your allies. So that's another angle she can take where she can play with aggressive teammates. She can play herself with the openers because I'm giving my Lua more effectiveness, my Harsetti more effectiveness. I'm giving any opener I may choose to get more effectiveness. And then another part of her skill 2 is when you suffer an AoE attack, she'll give vigor and speed buff to all allies. So this is really useful in again against the openers. You're giving your allies more damage, and then she pairs really well with the new Huayong, the Ardent Waves Huayong, because Huayong's S2 when she has Vigor grants her an extra turn instead of just giving her 20% CR. So I think she plays really well with the Hua. And if we look at Aram's S3, it's a very good S3. It gives exploiting weak points to whichever unit you choose, and exploiting weak points is just basically they're gonna do 20% more damage. So if you were gonna do 20k, you'll do 24k. And she resets their skill cooldown. So there's some really cool things you can do with the tuning, and then obviously you can't increase or decrease her cooldown, so you can't manipulate this with like a um prophetic candlestick, and you can't get your cooldowns increased by something like a knuckle. But the really cool thing about this is when you tune her with like a DPS. So one of my favorite combos I think is with the new Arya, with disciplinary prefect Arya, because Arya is like a scaling unit where her biggest issue is it can take quite a long time to scale up the penetration on her skill 3. But if I pick her with Aram, I skill 3, and then obviously my skill will go on cooldown. I'll stack up the first 35%, but an Aram will give her 100% CR and then reset the cooldown of her skill 3. And most likely in those kind of scenarios, you'll get to soul burn. So I've soulburned my next skill 3, which reduces the skill cooldown by 1 and increases damage dealt. So it'll be 2 turn cooldown until I can use my third skill 3, which will be fully stacked. And that's pretty much right at the start of the battle. So it can really speed up some of these scaling units. I think it's very strong with other DPS. I think another angle people have taken is Cleave, where with a unit like Strays will S3, gain invincibility. If he kills someone, he'll S2. And then let's say my Aram goes next, she'll skill 3, push up Strays, he S3s again into S2 again. And it's like this really like clockwork combo where I can get off my DPS gets all their damage off, gets their school cooldowns reset, and then they can get all their damage off again. So I think Aram in that sense has a lot of potential for both cleavers and turn two players because turn two she pairs really well with these scaling bruiser type units because of this skill cooldown reset. And then for the cleavers and the aggro players, she can give your DPS another shot. Like your strays can pretty much wipe a whole enemy team if he gets their S3 twice, especially. But overall, I would say she's a very versatile unit. She has potential for both turn two and turn one, so I think she's definitely worth the pickup. And then in terms of builds, counter I think it works really well, especially for turn two because when you get a counter, her S1 obviously does heal all her allies. So if she's high rolling the counters, if she's getting focused, you can get a lot more sustain with that. I think like another build you could just go is just a normal speed plus maybe immunity build, but that's more for the fast players who are looking to take more advantage of the skill reset. So one of the best cleaves right now is you go a mid into strays into Aram, where a mid will push up, push strays, he will S3, and then I covered before how Aram will reset his skill cooldowns and push him back up. So you kind of go. You could also just do like a full tank build if you just wanted to survive. I think she has a lot of viable builds. I personally prefer the counter one, so it's kind of choose whichever one you prefer and whichever one suits your playstyle the most. So artifact options, I think Soul Weavers, Guardian Ice Crystals is just like a kind of go to. I think most cleavers will run her own artifact because it does give you like a Warhorn type effect with the attack boost. And I think her artifact is probably not, it doesn't matter too much. I think any option you choose to go for will probably work quite well. I personally prefer the ice crystal since I'm more of a turn two player myself, so I think it works it works out pretty well, I guess. But yeah, your artifact is not too important in the grand scheme of things. I think more important is making sure you doing you good combos, building her right in the way that works best for your playstyle, and I think definitely I would grab at least one copy if you can because I think she can bring value to any account, whether you're a turn two player, turn one player, cleaver, aggro, whatever you choose to do. I think especially arena and guild wars, I think she's an exceptional unit, one of the best at both arena and guild wars because you'll see Harsetti everywhere, you'll see Lidica everywhere, and she's really good into that. RTA a bit harder to set up, but I think she has her matches where she just works so well. So I think she's definitely going to be worth your pulls. And we're getting a lot of bookmarks back from the current event going on, so I wouldn't hesitate to pick her up. And this was just my quick thoughts on Aram. I think I do plan on making more detailed guides, but I just wanted to give like a brief opinion and then cover whether or not I think she's worth the pull. I do plan on doing this for a few more units, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back pretty soon with another video, so take care.